The efficiency drive was always there for airlines and airports. What makes it more difficult in these days is the increasing number of passengers, along with the increasing expectations of passengers, along with scarcity of resources. According to IATA, the passenger numbers are expected to increase by annual rate of 3.6% for the next 20 years, which means by 2036 we will have about 7.8 billion passengers, which is actually almost double of the current number of passengers. If you look at the number of passengers for the emerging markets, you can actually see that the growth rate is much higher because they're at the moment at the booming stage. Increasing customer expectations are also putting a lot of pressure on the efficiency. If you think about it, as a passenger, I now expect much more from the airlines and airports than I used to expect, than what I was expecting from 10 years ago. As a passenger nowadays, I expect that I wait less time in the check-in desk or I spend less time in security lanes. As a passenger, I also expect that I will be well informed about my journey. I want to know where my flight departs, from what gate it departs, and if there are any changes in those parameters, I want to know that in real time. And thirdly, what I want to know is actually my journey to be custom and special for myself. So I want to order my gluten-free meal and have it during my flight. But if you think about it, this is a small request and from a passenger's point of view, but it puts a lot of pressure from the airline catering operations. As an airline catering organization, if you want to prepare those meals, you typically have to start preparation 24 hours in advance, while actually the customers for those catering organizations can change their meal request up to 20 minutes before their departure. So overall, what we see is that actually while demand for the ground operations is increasing, we actually see that there's scarcity for resources for fixed assets and skilled labor, which puts additional pressure for the airports and airlines to be more efficient. When we look at our customers, we see that actually there are a few areas where operational efficiency help improve passenger experience. The first one is about improving operational performance typically results in improving on-time performance, which is by far the most important criteria for the most passengers. For example, if you are planning your fixed assets, you have to make sure that you plan your stands and gates in a smart way so that the connecting passengers can easily find their next flight without delaying the next flight or without missing the next flight. We also see that operational improvements or operational efficiency improvements automatically means that better communication and visibility towards your passengers. As you know, all the passengers expect that they see in real time the delays or gate changes so that actually they can plan their time before they actually come to the airport, or while at the airport then they can plan their time on how to spend it. When we talk about connected ground operations, we typically talk about integrating the entire organization into one platform where they have the holistic view for the entire organization. And when you're talking about connected ground operations, you have to pay attention to the few main points. The first one is about integrating different departments which are working like silos. For example, if you consider the logistics operations at the airport and you look at the cargo operations together with the baggage operations, they're extremely similar to each other, but they're done by different departments. Imagine a world where you can have the same person deliver the baggage belt, the baggage first to the baggage belt, and then deliver the cargo to the cargo area. With integrated platform, we can make those smart and innovative decisions, which will essentially improve the utilization of the airport resources. The next type of integration is about the time horizon. When you think about an airline or airport, you can imagine that they make different types of plans, going from strategic plans down to the day of operations. And for example, let's consider the employee side of the story. When you're making plans for the employees on an annual level, you have to estimate how many FTEs you're going to need for the next year. When you actually look at 3-4 months in advance, you have to make sure that you publish the roster so that the employees know when they will be working and when they have day off. Typically 48 hours in advance, you have to create pre-planning, which actually will determine which employee performs what activity at what time. And on the day of operations, as a dispatcher, you have to make sure that you replan the employees if in case there's a disturbance. And if you think about it, all these planning decisions are typically made by different people, But if you don't integrate them into one platform, and if they all work with different assumptions, you will end up with plannings which are not aligned with each other. What we see is that once an organization has those three elements right, they start making huge improvements in their efficiency. For example, Copenhagen Airport has implemented Quintiq platform several years ago to plan their 11 working units, including maintenance and security and some other departments, which actually enabled them to be the most efficient airport in Europe. Once we hear those customer stories, it actually motivates us to invest more in our integrated planning platform. Integrated planning is all about having the holistic view and breaking up the silos. When you have an integrated planning in place, that automatically means you have the full visibility of all operations around the airport. Having everything in one platform also gives the chance to decision makers to make more holistic decisions, which in return improves the on-time performance for the airports and airlines. In the day of operation, an integrated platform gives you a chance to respond quickly and better to the disruptions by providing you decision support, which is based on real-time information. Lastly, on an integrated platform, you don't only plan one type of resources, but all resources together. On one side, you're planning your asset and you're increasing the utilization of your assets, while on the other hand, you're also planning your employees and making sure they're happy with their schedules and they can perform at their best when they're working on their duties. With Quintiq, we believe it's all about bringing value to our customers, and we observe that there are a few key areas which are bringing the most value to our customers. The first one is about integrated platform. An integrated platform is about integrating all resources, in one platform, also integrating your time horizons in that same platform, so that you can have a full visibility of your organization and operations, which in return results in better on-time performance, while also maximizing the utilization of your resources and increasing your efficiency. The second one is about decision support. While we see that there are very talented and smart planners around the world, we also realize that it's actually they have very limited time to perform different options and make decisions about their planning. So that's why we believe that they need decision support in place, which will help them evaluate different options, and so that they can make conscious choices which will maximize their KPIs. This is why we invest so much effort in our optimization technology, so that we can help our customers to make better decisions and optimize their planning. Another one is about the flexibility to connect to different data sources. As a planner or dispatcher, you rely on getting the real-time information which is right, so that you can actually make the right decisions. For example, if you're a dispatcher and there's a disruption, you want to get that information on real time, but you also want to get other information. You want to know where your employees are. You want to know if there's a gate change, so that actually when you modify the plan, that's actually a plan that's executable by your operational people. The next one is analytics. We provide a real-time KPI dashboard for the planners and dispatchers, so that whenever they make a decision, they can consciously see the impact of that decision to the organization. For example, if you're an employee planner and you decide to allocate an overtime to an employee, you will immediately see what is the impact in terms of cost for the entire organization for that decision. In a similar fashion, we also help organizations to analyze their historical performance by supplying them with the predictive analytics tools, which will help them to analyze the patterns in the past, and more importantly, apply them for their next planning cycle. For example, we typically help our customers to analyze their historical actual durations for activities, and then they can analyze their trends in that data, which they can use for their next planning cycle when they're allocating the activities for the next day.